Oh, shit. Good morning. I love stocks. I'm gonna go get me some water and turn on my coffee, and I'll be right back. Let's have a good time. Y'all can hear me? Boom chick, 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 boom chick. Looks like my face is a little behind, but get my water and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm ready. See if we have a big showing or not. I'll give it a few more minutes. We are now at 1:01 Eastern Time. You're up back. Welcome to I Love Stocks. Winter season's starting to kick in, contested election. Market's very bullish. I'm kind of surprised that it keeps going up, but we did have a nice little pullback last week from that nice little breakout that we had of 1,500 points, 1,600 points. So I thought that was quite impressive. But today I want to kind of talk about how I play my moving averages. I like to, right now I'm enjoying scalping and some swing trading because the stocks are starting to find bottoms. And we found that last week. You notice how we started bouncing back up. Friday was a real good day, and I was surprised about Friday, how vibrant it was. So it just leads me to believe that this coming week's going to be green too. But we might go sideways and we might go down a little and then bounce back up. But today I want to kind of talk about the moving averages. I use two different kinds. One's an SMA and then one's an EMA. I'm going to play a short little video for you right now. And we're going to go ahead and go through this and then
the moving average is a tool commonly used by traders and technical analysts to analyze the price movement of securities. The moving average is simply an average of a series of data points over a given period of time. Traders use moving averages to smooth out fluctuating data in order to identify overall trends and cycles. There are two types of moving averages that are most commonly used by traders: the simple moving average, SMA, and the exponential moving average, EMA. The simple moving average is the mean of the data points. For example, if you were using a 20-day moving average on stocks, the price for each of the past 20 days would be added together and then divided by 20 to generate the moving average. As new price data is added each day, the 20-day moving average shifts forward, always using the latest 20 available data points. Each data point is weighted equally in the simple moving average, regardless of whether it happened yesterday or 20 days ago. Similarly, an exponential moving average will also take an average of the data points over a given period of time, like the simple moving average. However, the weighting of each data point is not equal. More weight is given to the most recent data, and the weightings decrease as you go farther back in time. In other words, the exponential moving average treats recent data as more relevant and more important compared to historical data. In investing, traders are always looking for signals to buy or sell. By weighting recent data more heavily, exponential moving averages can give traders clear trend signals faster than the simple moving average. However, this can also increase the number of false signals. For this reason, many traders use an exponential moving average in combination with a simple moving average.
Won't let me leave my screen here. Maybe that'll do it. There we go. Okay, simple moving average. It's a slower moving average. It calculates a selected range of prices. Usually it's the closing price by the day, and then it averages on out. You can average them. I use the 50 and the 200 mostly when it comes to the SMA. Now the SMA, it gives kind of signals to buy or sell. Basically, when I'm looking at let me get down here to the let me see here. Right here. These are the two popular trading patterns that I use when I'm using the SMAs. It's called the Death Cross and the Golden Cross. And I'll pull that up right here. As you can see, they kind of touch right here. That's still telling us that's the 50, and then you got the 200. So when you cross down, a lot of times that's where you got to kind of capitulate where, okay, are we going to hold support or are we going to drop more? But once we cross up, that's called a golden cross. And then you got a little death cross. That happened right here on this candle. Now you could have candle could have probably popped back up a little bit more, and then you could have exited that trade and maybe bought it down here at a lower price. And that's $1 something change. So I use these a lot when I'm scalping. This is the chart I used when I first started trading. It just gave me buy signals, and I could just follow it up. I knew I was bullish if it would follow the 50 up. Then if it did break the 50, that was my exit spot. But I'd also use that 200 for a support level. As you can see, when we broke that 50, it landed right on that 200. So to me, it being so tight right there, I was still bullish on the trade. Plus, it was holding trend. And what I mean by trend, you just kind of draw your nice little trend line over here where you think the balance is. You know, I'm looking for an equilibrium. It's kind of hard to find, but on this first pullback right here, that's probably where I would have went ahead and it started bouncing up. I'd draw me a trend line right in there. So the next time it came down and it touched that 200, it'd give me some freedom to say I still want to be in the trade. But eventually, you see it gave up, and then it pulled back. And also when I'm using this, I use this on the yearly. And I try to look for, let's go to a different stock maybe. Let's go to let's see what the SPY says. Here's the SPY. You got your death cross, but kind of come in a little bit too late. So you want to kind of watch the curve down on the 50. You know, but this is called a death cross, and by that time it was already dead. So I would have probably exited the trade right here at the 200 once it started failing at 200, and then you got the golden cross. Now this would have been a nice entry. Take that 50 on the way up over the 200. So that's what you call golden cross. And I use them quite often too, especially when I'm looking for pullbacks on a stock or we're having a sell-off. I like to see it hold that 50, and I'm still bullish. But if not, it goes below that, then I would start to be bullish once it hits the 200. This is back when Corona hit. We had that pretty good crash. We could have another good pullback. So on the SPY, I'm going to try to find support. And I'm going to run this right down here to that bottom line. We have one right here. See this little area right in here? So now we're going to try to find a low support. We're going to try to find little resistance levels. And here's another one. You see this top right in here? How it runs up into that. So we had like a double. And then you have another one right here. This top right here where it consolidated. You see where it pulled back right there? Pulled back there, held support. Couldn't break it up through there. Then she bounced up. So it's like a pivot point. And we want to go up higher. We had a nice little breakout. We did have an all-time high up here, so we want to go ahead and mark that in. Right there, I'd say it's pretty good. And then we're going to come over here to these candles, and we're going to try to find some resistance levels and support levels. And I'm using this on a daily chart, one year daily. This is on the SPY. So I know a lot of money goes into the SPY, and I know a lot of money goes out. So I'm not really contentious about, I already know the money flows in there. So I just kind of watch the tape, and I watch the level 2. I like to watch these two here just to see how the bids and the ask price are piling up. I always like to have the news down here in case I see something pop up on the news that could turn the SPY around. So let's go to the 20-day now. You know I always go to let's see if I missed anything in here. It looks like I missed something right in here. I'm going to magnify that up a little bit. I think that's probably a serious little spot to be looking at. Now you notice when I'm drawing these candles, when I'm drawing these lines, I'm using them on the bases, the body of the candle. That's where the strength of the candle is. That's when the buyers start to get weak, and the sellers come in, pull it down. You just got to watch them candlesticks. They tell a story too about where the trade's going to go. So let's go to the 20-day and look at it real fast. See if I missed anything in here. You know, I like to look for places of consolidation. There's one right in here. Now to analyze this trade, I need to say that this 346.56 needs to hold. Why? Because we had 5 days of resistance right there, and then we found support right here and resistance right here. Curved up and then kind of had a little blowhorn pattern right in here with those little bitty candles. And then bam, she broke out. Pulled right back to that support level. So that's what you would call, when you're wanting to look for a knife or a pullback or a sign of weakness in the market, you want to look for places that have consolidated, that have leveled out, that have had a resistance and a support level. And I'm talking right in here's resistance, and this was a support resistance level. So that's real strong. And that's when I say strong, I say hard. When I say hard, I mean red line, hard red line. That means solid. If we pull back to there, I guarantee it. Unless some real bad news comes in. And the corona, we got to keep that in mind too. It's not affecting the market one bit right now. And I do believe that they're rotating a lot of the growth stocks into the smaller mid cap and the Dow. The Dow has had to pull back a little bit. It didn't want to break resistance, so I'm thinking they're starting to pile in small caps a little bit more. And then you got the sector runs. You got the EV cars, and you've got the pot sector. But this support level right here at 346.56, I'm going to say has to hold. If it doesn't hold next week, we can go down to a different tier, and that would be a pivot point in this channel right in here that I'm talking about. And that pivot point's right there. You see where it pulled back right there? And we have an equilibrium of it right around in there, so that's going to be your little 3 different supports if this doesn't hold. Now you can stop this tape at any time and write these numbers down. But I'm always looking at the tape, I'm looking at the level 2, and I'm always looking at the news when I'm checking out the SPY. Now, resistance to break is going to be right up in here. I'm thinking maybe right about there, 360.27. Actually, it could be up here too. So we'll put a couple of trend lines in there. That's the resistance that we got to break, 360.27. We can try to get it to the high next week up here, or she'll pull back to this support and create a channel. And I think that's what we need to do, because I don't want to see these, especially the SPY, but we've had a nice little run. I called this out in the room. I said we're going to go sideways. We did. Now we just got to kind of start to consolidate. If it does pull back, it's going to be that 346.56 for a strong buy. The resistance to break is going to be 363.73 to a double top, and then move on from there. Hello, June. Hello, Mr. MJ. Richard. Hello, Richard. So that's the moving average. You have the golden cross, and you have the death wish. See the death wish pile up over here? Look what happened. The 50 crossed down over the 200. And look what happened. And it come touched that 200, found resistance. See? That was a blocker. Always remember, you can use these 2 moving averages as a support and a resistance level, or an idea of a pattern of a trade. If you see this, bam, that you could have swung this all the way up. And as long as it held that 50, you're still in the trade, okay? But you want to use the 20-day. Every time frame is different. As you can see, the moving averages are smooching up here. What's this telling you right here on the daily? It's going to consolidate until that green line starts to break above the 200. And if that green line pulls back down over the 200, you're going to have a sell-off. And it could pull back to this 356 or somewhere. See, this is what I made a mistake last week on one of my trades. I think it was Nile where I was wanting to sell out. And I'm glad it didn't work out, because I held it overnight and made bigger money. A lot more. I was real proud about how Vegas ran the Nile. I was kind of bearish. I'm bearish on Nile a little bit because it's a China stock. But I ran it up with her, And then your body starts to tell you something. Your gut starts to dig in your stomach, and you start getting a little sweaty, and you start seeing, and this is what I want to kind of explain right here. This is something that a lot of traders don't get, and that's the emotional impact. And some of us are psychics, and some of us are not, but it kind of helps your psychic sense when you start to use that. And I'm going to show you something right here. And I've talked about this many a times with people, about how their emotions run. Give me 1 second. When you're in the bottom of a trade, and maybe you're seeing that golden cross, that gives you a little bit of optimism. So you get a little bit excited, and then that 50 starts to curve on down, that 50 SMA. So you start to get, okay, man, I'm up here, I'm making money. Uh-oh. It's starting to curve down a little bit. Maybe just, let me see here. Let me test, see if it wants to retest this next support level. No. Oh, now I'm in denial. Should I get out of the trade, or should I got out of it when my anxiety started kicking in? Then you get desperation, panic, and by that time you're down here at the bottom. That's when you want to, before you start to get these feelings, you want to catch that first little anxiety feeling, like it's time for me to maybe think about getting out of the trade. Because if you wait down here at the panic mode and you sell, or you get desperation and you sell, by that time you've lost a ton of money. And then maybe later down the line, a couple years later, it might start to rebound up, or it could start to rebound up that same day. Depends on what the momentum is, the volume, price, and action. Now, Vegas clearly reminded me about Nile last week. Her and I got in a debate at one time about calls and puts. And I was bullish on the trade, but there's a certain instinct that gets kicked in, and I knew, man, this thing's way up too much. I mean, we're up 100% in a week. That's not sustainable. It's being pumped. There's a lot of people jumping in it and scaling out. There's a lot of long-term traders, a lot of inexperienced traders buying it at the resistance and getting stuck in it. So that's part of the trade. And I felt this. Once I bought that stock, I felt this. Like, okay, I'm ready, man. This thing's going to fly. Or I was down here with hope. And then all of a sudden that price started going up in Nile after hours. And then I started getting the anxiety, the denial, the fear, but I couldn't touch my option. So I waited the next day and it kept going up. But then I got saved by the bell. Citron came in and did their crap, and the stock was shorted. So I was lucky. I got lucky in that trade, but my gut was telling me something. It was telling me the same thing that Citron was feeling. They were feeling this stock's way overextended. I'm bullish on Nile. I'm very bullish on Nile. But when you're up here and you're feeling that euphoria, then all of a sudden you hear some kind of news or something, then you wonder. That anxiety starts to kick in. Should I take my profit now while I'm up so much? Profit, that's the hardest thing people do. They're willing to take a loss, but they're not willing to take that profit. And I'm going to tell you right now, as someone that's traded this market for 16 years, you get these patterns. These patterns come tremendously a lot in a stock. Usually when you start seeing anxiety, you start to see a volume decrease. People are thinking about, okay, should I start taking my profit now or not? But that's when the volume starts to slow down. That's when you need to start thinking, do I want to stay in the trade, or do I want to take my profit now? I sell into strength, because I know I can get out of that trade right then and right now. And I sell it at the ask. If I'm up and I'm flying and I'm up a couple grand, I'm up $500. If I'm up 50 and I just don't see something right, I'm going to sell it. I'm not scared to sell. I'm very proud to take my profit, and I did that for the last 2 months, and I put that plan into play. And I only had one bad trade, and it was 50 cents in the red. But I'm telling you, Your gut will tell you to get into a trade and get in and out of a trade. And that's the best thing. If you learn that concept, you learn that euphoria, and you learn hope, optimism, anxiety when you're in a trade, I guarantee it'll clean your palate up, and you'll bring in a lot more money. The best thing a good trader does is he does not take risk. I took a risk in Nile, but it paid off. But potentially, you don't want to make the mistake of falling in love with the trade. And when something's up so high, I mean, $2 to $60, you got to think. You got to really think. You know, especially the periodic run that we did have. And I'm going to show you Nile right now. And I'm going to show it first with the 50s. But that's just kind of another lesson. And I want to bring that in because I notice a lot of traders, you know, they get stuck. They don't think about that emotion that you get into a trade. And you can hear me breathe hard sometimes because I mean, when I get involved in something, my whole body just digs right into it. But here we got Nile, and we're going to look at the yearly chart with the two SMAs. See, we had that big breakout right in here. That was the time, and you had to go to the yearly. You had to go to the yearly. And this is the one that I have my RSI on too. So even right in here would have been a good time to buy the stock. Down here at the bottom. Right there at the very bottom. And we were calling this out in the room, but we were too chicken shit to play it. I wish I would have loaded up on this thing up here at 2. At least about 1,000 shares. And run it all the way up here. It kept the 50 all the way up. See? That's how you can tell if you're a long swing trader. That's how you try to keep into the trade. Now, once this thing breaks down below that 50, and that 50 is going to become a support level. So we got to keep this 2631 in mind. Now, I didn't see this 50 SMA when I drew these lines in here, but this is a double confirmation that Nile has a low support right down here at 2631. Now, if you come close to touching that, and that'd be right around the $30 area, 29.22, you could go ahead and get a nice retracement bounce up. But we're going to define this in a different way. Because we're bullish on the trade, but I still think we're very overextended. I had a target of 36.86 on the trade. And we'll go to the 20-day and I'll show you how I found that. Right in here. This lower price right in here. Then we have a strong support right in here. We have a channel of support right in here. So this is how I define this out when I'm looking at a 20-day chart. I'm looking at the low strong buy support at 36.86. Okay? I'm looking at the second support channel right down in here between 39.16 and 39.76. Why? Because we consolidated right in here and then we've pulled back into that channel many times. That's going to be a solid support. So that's support number 2. And I'm going to chalk that in with some color. I know this is kind of tedious and slow for some, but I guarantee if you become a better chart reader and not go into a trade blindly, you'll become a lot better trader. Period. Excuse me. So I've defined this out. I've defined 3 different support levels. Right now we're in the first support channel. That's between 42.60 and 43.67. Now if we drop down, and we're going to look at this. You see that right there? That's kind of a trippy little flag, ain't it? You know what that was telling you? We had this big knife right in here. We had this big knife, big bearish engulfing candle. And I pay a lot of good attention to them. Here we had 3 white crows, or 3 black crows. Then we had the big old engulfing candle. To me, that would have been a buy signal. I would have waited, and I'd probably drop this down to a minute, daily minute, and watch the candlesticks. But, got into it pre-market. and ran it on up. But here's that weird looking chart right here. Next day it popped on up. Pulled right back to support again. See that big engulfing candle? Now this is a spinning top. It held that right there. That's bullish. Okay? Now this is an hour chart. When that candle held the body of that candle, and it came down and touched that again, bam! Then you got that big old hammer right here. Not a hammer, but I tried to think of the name. But then it just kept on going up. Here we go again. And a lot of times, this first hour of the day is where I make my most money. I make probably 80% of cash in this period right in here. I could be out golfing on a date, getting drunk, and I'm gone. I'm worked 2 hours a day. And I have a canning sense of when I wake up in the morning and I'm sitting watching pre-market, I know exactly how the day's going to go just by reading the tape, Stella, and watching some of the tickers that I watch on a daily basis for the last 16 years. That's another thing. Get you a top 20 watch list and watch the same tickers over and over and over and over and over. Have you a top 20. Then you add and subtract from that top 20. Like Intel's at a bottom right now. A lot of bad people, people are talking bad about Intel, but we're at a bottom. If you wanted to go long, now's the time. But it ain't going to go up too much, but $5, maybe $8 out of it, out of Intel. So this is my prediction on Nile. We're going to go ahead and we're going to look for something in here. Right about there, 4105. Whoop. And we're going to get serious here. I think I've got all of my gibberish out of the way. Yeah, I want to find an equilibrium right in here. See, you know how I found this trend line right here? Found it right in here. See, I found it on this day right here. That's like a little pivot point. And I like how these touched right in here. How the wicks touched, So that's pretty solid. Now we're going to go to the daily. Nile is a tough one to trade right now. There's going to be people stuck in the stock up here, okay? They didn't get that Centron news. When we heard the Centron news, that was our sell signal to get out of the trade, and we made it very clear in the room. Very clear. And if you didn't get out of that trade when we mentioned it, because it was going to go down. It was going to go down because it was way overextended. And let's pull that 20-day up again. This is a good run. This is a healthy run. Okay? This is healthy. This is healthy. Then it started consolidating. So, it found support. And then this got a little bit crazy. And I knew after that second day that I wanted to get out of the trade. I kept in it. When it held support, I kept in the trade. It didn't scare me because it held this support level. And we hit it many times. That allowed me to stay into the trade. You got to remember that. You got to find them places of consolidation. Find them places where they touch down, and that'll keep you in a trade a lot of times. And then if it would have dipped down below, much lower than that, I would have probably got out of the trade because I was in it down here at 25. I'm still up $13 a share, and that's a lot in an option. That could add up pretty good. So I got my put in here, and it ran on up. And this is where I started getting that anxiety, saying, fuck, what'd I do? And then that Centron news came in, bam. So we're looking at a lower support right here at 39. I want to see that hold if it dips on down in this channel. This is going to be a channel of support. If it holds in here, that's going to be a very good sign that it could retrace back up. Now, if it gets down to this 36 area, that's where you might want to consider start to buy back into the trade. But I do have a low support, like I said earlier, down here at 26.31. We'll see that eventually, but for right now, price over action, and Vegas made that clear to me when I bought the put, and it went up. So she was right. if I'd have sold that and took that little $50, I didn't get out of it, and I held it the next day, and I made 600. So, that's a pretty good trade. I was quite impressed with it. So that is NIO. And then I'm going to show you a little watch list, and I'm going to go over some stocks that you all want me to look at. Okay? This a little bit of last week's watch list, and I'll be adding some of these new tickers that we talk about today. Hello, Mr. Happy. So let's go ahead and... is there any on this list you want me to look at, or do you want anybody in a hurry to get out? I'll look at your stock first. Okay, we'll go look at Roku. I'm going to add Roku in here. Tell your friends about these sessions. I got to get a bigger gathering in here. Hit that like button and ring that bell for future updates. Let's go ahead and look at Roku right now. Okay. Got to turn this in. I'm going to use two different charts too. Hello. Okay. I'm using two different charts. I'm using my EMAs, and I'll tell you a little bit about how I use the EMA, and I'll tell you how I use the SMA on the same kind of chart here. And I also have a Fibonacci set up on this one. Kind of helps me, find supports and resistance levels. And this is my EMA chart. So let's go to the SMA first. Let's pull up the yearly. Let's see what we got here on the year. So we've had the Death Wish and the Golden Cross. I'd rather play the Golden Crosses. When you start to see that 50 run up over the 200, because you make better money on them. The Death Crosses come in a little late and are harder to catch. But you find them when you're downtrending. Okay? So you want to stay in a stock that keeps having lower highs for 3 months? No. You want to get out of that stock as soon as it starts to break support level. Maybe you could have scalped it up here once it hit that 200 and run it on up. But this is the Death Wish and the Golden Cross. And me, I can take a trade and trade it any day, a stock. But I have a lot of experience. And it's funny here lately how I'm sitting here and I just pull up a ticker and no, I don't want to look at it. And I pull up another one. No, I don't want to look at it. And, 3 minutes later, I'm saying, oh, this looks good, man. This hit my 200 right now. I wonder if I should get in it or not. And then I'll do a little bit more homework. I'll go to the 20-day. And we're looking at Roku. So I'm going to go to the 20-day and I'll say, hey, do I want to get in this trade? Are we in resistance levels, or are we down here at support level where we consolidated and bounced up many a times? No, we're up here at resistance. See? We're up here at resistance. We had a nice little breakout here. I bet you it had something to do with earnings. Check that out. See? What happened after earnings? Look at that. Would you have held after earnings if you got into that trade? Would you have took profit in this area right in here before earnings came out? I would have. If I was down here and I got in, I had a good $30 run or a $10 run. It fell back, bounced off this support level, and look where it closed, that candle right there. Closed right there at resistance. So yeah, heck yeah, I took my money. The ones that didn't got stuck. They woke up the next morning out of bed and said, shit, I just lost $2 or $3 grand on this trade because I didn't take my profit when I was up 2,500. And you just wait We patiently wait for these candles to do their thing and look for the confirmation of a reversal. You know, we had two big engulfing green candles on an hour right here. Time to take profit. Another big engulfing candle. Time to get into the trade. Pre-market, see? Do you see any kind of a pattern? You can't beat the trend. I'm one of the best knife catchers out there, but you catch a knife by looking at previous support levels. See? This, when it was up here, I would have not started looking at this trade until it hit right here at 228.08, because that was the previous resistance levels that we had. And I might have jumped in that trade right there. But then we pulled back to that 200 and it was, bam, and finally. But yeah, it's hard to say. But I think Roku, lower support's going to be right here at 216 for a strong buy. And there's going to be a little pivot point area right in here, and we're going to draw that in. I have to say it's right here. I'd like for it to be a little higher, but yeah, 219.63. So these are going to be their three supports to take the trade in. It's going to be 224.04 is that first one. And actually, it could pull back right here. See this? You got to pay attention to the previous day lows and draw a little trend line right in there too. That would be a big mistake if I didn't look at that. And you notice I put it on the body, the body of the candle. The wick is a gift. I always want to keep repeating that to people. These are gifts. You want to get into the trade, when you find a place that's consolidated, and that'd been right in here. The body of the candle. And then you try to find, see? You just try to find patterns. So Roku, it could touch this 200, but let's look at the daily 1 minute one more time here and see if I missed any. See, I missed a lot in here. This is a resistance level here at 231.65. We got it. Let me put that 213.165. You got another one right here. You got another one right in here. See, I'm looking for an equilibrium. See where it pulled back right in here? Then I want to draw this, and I'm looking all the way across. Try to find a matchup, a lineup. Then I want to equal it out right there. Perfect. Those are going to be my resistance levels with a hard resistance right here with the double top. That's hard. So I turn that into red. This is how I take a trade. Now, I already know when I want to get in the trade, and I know when I want to get out. Okay? Where do I want to get in the trade? I want to get in the trade right down here at 226.24. I want that to hold. If not, we could pull back to this lower support level at 225.22. That would be, if I got in here, I'd add on to this. I'm going to raise my alert. Where am I going to raise this alert? Right here? Yeah, that's where I'm going to put that alert. So when I get triggered, I'll know to get into the trade, because I think it'll drop down just a little bit below that 226, and we're talking about Roku here. Now let's go ahead and go to my EMAs. This is my EMA chart that I use. It's called a TTM squeeze. It also has my Fibonacci levels on here. So I got a strong buy at 226.24. I want that to hold. If that does not hold, this area right in here is where you want to get into the trade. And then you got to break a resistance of 228.88 and get it on up here to this level up here. Now I'm putting in a trend line right here. Why? Because we hit a resistance there. See, I didn't see that earlier. But now, the hard resistance is going to break. It's going to be right in here. I think this is the biggest gift I could give to you right now. Try to anticipate an early resistance. You would look up here and you'd think, okay, this is going to be the hard resistance, okay? That's what you would think. You would say to yourself, I want this to go up and I want to see a triple top. But maybe she only has enough mustard to get up here on a slow day and find resistance and pull back and create a channel in here. And I'm constantly thinking my different scenarios, and I'm looking at 3 or 4 different charts before I get into a trade. And I always like to have a confirmation. If it ain't news, volume over price. News is my favorite. And I'm a good tape reader, so I know my tape. I know when a stock's being bought, more buyers or sellers are coming in. But so I'm going to take this to this. And if I can break past 230.43, I know that the pivot point passing this new channel is going to be right up in here, right at 230.99. Why do I say that? Because we consolidated right in here. See? Consolidated right in here. Consolidated right in here. This is the biggest one right in here, you know. Right in here where we consolidated, pulled back, then we tried to break out. But I used a lot of this, more or less I used these 2 candles right in here. And then I just witnessed the touching of the other candles, which gave me kind of an equilibrium for that next resistance level. Okay, strong buy down here at 226.24. A real strong buy at 225.22. Retracement back up to resistance level at 228.88. If we can bust past that, we'll get into the second, third, and fourth resistance. Hard resistance at 231.65. If it didn't break that triple top, I'd be out of the trade. And that's Roku. Next one. Roku. I want to make sure I don't miss nothing. If you could show us when a tweet, a call, or a put, how it's done. Yes, I am. Okay, WEI. Let me add it to my watch. Where's my watch list at? Jimmy. Oh, there it is. Woo! Charlotte Flair would say. Okay, there's WEI. Jamie is on the list too. Facebook's on the list. Netflix, yes. AYRO. So WEI. What chart am I going to go to first? Of course, I'm going to go to my SMA and I'm going to look at the yearly. I want to say to myself, okay, do I want to trade this stock? It takes me 10 seconds to realize if I want to trade it or not. Looks interesting because we touched down here at the 50-day and we've kind of bounced around, had that nice little candle right here. So looks interesting. It had that big breakout and pulled back. I mean, we're way down below support level. This is a very attractive spot right here. You notice I already have my trend lines on it. These are what you call extended trend lines. Now I'll use these things over and over again. I can go back 3, I can go back 5 years, and every year I put a different color in here. So I know when I'm going back to some trend lines, I say, man, I played this back in 2018. Look, it landed right on that extended trend line that I had. This is the pattern that a lot of people don't know and don't learn. A lot of traders just trade from word of mouth. I've not met no one in my 15 years that trades like I do. Not one soul. Maybe a couple. I know one that's following me pretty good in the room, and he's really starting to turn out to be a good trader. But you got to read the charts. I had someone told me yesterday that a guy I traded with 3 years ago said the most important thing I ever learned was watching Washboard Jim. He taught me how to look at the yearly chart. He taught me how to look at a stock and know within 15 to 20 seconds if I wanted to play it. And I just found this out yesterday from another trader that said, Jim, I mean, this guy, you know, he's good and he's very popular. And he mentioned my name. And I thought that was kind of a nice little, you know, I don't feel like I'm rewarded enough sometimes of the hard work I do. And it was nice to hear that. So we broke this 200 right here. That's what we got to break for resistance level on WEI. I want to look at the news. I want to see if anything's really outstanding on the news. But you pull up that year's chart when you first look at a stock and just start asking yourself within 5 seconds, do I want to trade this trade? Then if you do, you want to look at the news. And you want to see what kind of news we've had here recently. Is it China? Is this a China play? Yep, I think it is. So we're down here at the bottom for sure. Let's go ahead and pull up the 20-day. I'd say resistance level is going to be right up in here, a hard resistance. But we're down, definitely down at support level. Anything below that's going to be a strong buy. I mean, if this sucker dips down to 104, I'd get in the trade. I'd go long with it and run it back up to these other resistance levels. I think it can pull back a little bit more, and I'm going to find that right in here. See, I had to open that up a little bit. I'm looking for little support levels and resistance levels, because this really means a lot in here, this 20 days. So let's go ahead and pull up the 20-day. Oh, we are on the 20-day now. Real hard to see, you know it. Definitely consolidated. So I'm thinking right in here is going to be resistance level. And that's right at 195. I'm going to turn that red. Then we'll pull up the daily 15-minute, 3-minute, 1 minute. Yeah, see, I just don't like, we have to get a volume spike. So I think it can pull back to a lower support. There's a support level right in here. 143. Yeah, this is a tough one to look at. But I'm going to get you in here. Okay. You know, I'm thinking I want to see it hold this 140 area. Okay. If it doesn't hold that 140, we're going to drop down to about 120, 104. I think that would be your solid first support right there. If you can get in at 140 and maybe run it up to these resistance level of 160, scalp it there. If it does break above that 160, you got another resistance right up in here at 166. And then if it hits that 200 on the 20-day, 1 hour, that's time to get out of the trade at 176. But if the momentum keeps up and has some real good news, try to break at 195. But for right now, I think we'll pull back a little bit. And if it doesn't hold this 140, consider getting in the trade maybe right around 130 down here off this big fat wick, or maybe a little bit lower. But I don't like the volume as much since the sell-offs came in. But I think it can start to it has started to accumulate a support area, and it needs to break a resistance of 152. If you break 152, you can go higher. That's on Wee, the little piggy. Okay, got Wee out of the way. How do you expect Nile earnings? I think they're building like 4,000 cars a month. You know, that's another thing about these Nile traders. They don't even own their own factory. Okay? They don't even have their own factory. They're renting out space. But they're starting to build a lot more cars. They're going to build a cheaper car than Tesla. But it's not going to be... It's a pretty neat car. But I don't think it's the quality of a Tesla car. And what I found out about NIO here lately is that the factory that they are building them in, they're building like 4,000 cars a month. Tesla's building about 12. And they're a lot more established. Tesla's definitely established. They've got their factories, you know. Everything they build is theirs. Compared to to Neo, where a lot of it is imported stuff. It's hard to. The factory's pretty cool. I watched the factory, but so I have to be a little bearish that it's a China stock, and I know I'll get fake numbers out of it. So I think the earnings are going to be good. Not as good as they want to be. And I just can't. I just have this eerie feeling. I'm just the kind of guy that can't trust a stock that's run up so high. I have to play the support levels and take the bounces. Now I'll watch the tape and the momentum, but I'm still got this 36.86 for a strong buy. At 39 to 40, maybe your third support. Your second one right around 41, and this first support channel right here between 42.60 and 43.66. Just don't fall in love with this trade right now. It's had a heck of a run, and it's something that you want to keep in your portfolio and on your watch list for a long time. I'll share my EV watch list with you all here later on. So we got that one out of the way. Now let's go to AYRO. Then I'm going to kind of just run through a few stocks and talk about them just like a little fast 10 minutes. We've been at this for an hour now. Whoops. We got another hour left. Then I got to go kill some Cronus. Ooh, nice run. First thing pops in my mind is nice run. And I pull up that yearly, and I say, well, where's resistance level? Right here? Yep. A little bit below that. We're about there. There's a third quarter results, sales. Had a net loss of $3 million. I don't like that. Ooh. Well, I'm not too excited about the earnings. I'm not too excited about the earnings. I think it'll pull back, find support level right in here, right around 333. I'm going to put it right there. See, I'm looking at this candle right in here. 333, and then maybe right down here. I'm looking at this big fat candle right here. That really caught my eye. Then you got an equilibrium right in here, right at 303. Okay, and you see how I did this? I went to that candle right there. It matched up with that one. It matched up with that one. That tells me that's a pretty solid support for the first one. So I like to see that 369 hold. I think it's going to pull back. I want to look at one more thing. I'm going to look at the float. I got to know what the float is. I look at FinViz. So if you don't have a reliable float source, I always compare FinViz with Trade Ideas. Trade Ideas is not always that accurate. But this, to me, is probably one of the... Ameritrade sucks. Ameritrade is always too high. But, so it's 9.73 million. I want to look at that float. I want short float of 12%. So that's what I want to look at. And I go to FinViz to do that. Let's pull this to the 20-day. We're drawing this up. We're looking for spots. We had a nice little breakout candle, symmetrical flag right here, pennant flag, and she broke out. That's a pennant flag. In case you don't know what a pennant flag is, where did I find it? Right here. That's called a pennant flag. You'll draw your little diagrams. That's a bullish flag. You see them flags. You know when they start to squeeze is when that candle starts to get a little bit smaller at the end. You know what was cool about that last candle? That's called a spinning top. Okay? It's getting ready to blow its top. That's a spinning top. It held support all the way down, see? Higher lows all the way up. That would have been a great indicator to get into this trade on an hour pattern. A lot of people look at the hours. A lot of people look at 15 minutes. I look at an hour, and I look at a daily. I look at a daily. I look at an hour, and I look at a minute. When I'm scalping and I'm day trading, I'm looking for entries. I'm on the daily 1 minute. I've already looked at the hourly one, so I know I'm bullish, but I want to get into the trade. I want to look for something a little bit better. Buy at support, sell at resistance. I can't express it any more than I have to. Why buy at resistance? Why do people buy at resistance? When you can have a little bit of patience, you like the stock, let it come back to your support level. Right in here, see? AYRO. So you always got to think, don't want to buy at resistance? Do I think it's going to break out? Is there a pattern telling me that it's going to break out? I mean, this was strong. This was a huge indicator. You had that big engulfing candle. This candle held above the body of this one. This body's above 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 this one. I mean, it was time to get in. I would have got in the trade at this second candle right here. If that held that bottom, that's where I would have took the trade before anybody else. Others would have waited until the end of the flag. This indicator right here is telling me that this is a bullish pattern. When that body is above this other body, you got to write that down. I'm telling you, it'll make a difference. Patterns will make a difference, and candlesticks will make a difference when you want to get into a trade. You always got to have a reason to get into a trade, not just because someone says they like it, not because someone says, I'm in it, news is going to come out. That's a pump. You're speculative, being speculative. You got to have reasons why you want to get into the trade. It's either got to have good news, volume over price, a pattern, some kind of pattern, or touching my moving averages and being in the now. And that's something else, being in the now. I was in the now 2 months ago when I said I'm going to change my game plan because election's coming up and I think it can be contested. I knew that in my heart that it was going to be contested. And it was. But I expected a bigger pullback. But the market thinks Biden's going to win. So they'll be surprised, I think, if it doesn't turn out that way. And we might have a little pullback, but they're used to the X, so they're going to be happy with him too. With Trump. But they like Biden because Biden will pour a bunch of money into the market. I mean, 10 million. So that's all they care about. They just care about that money flow. And we talk about that a lot of time in the room. The money flow, the price over action. Baskat's a wonderful trader when it comes to looking for that kind of, and I have to give him kudos. I mean, and Vegas too. That was probably one of the two best traders I've seen when it comes to looking for people piling into a trade. And, I've learned quite a bit. And I learned from everybody. I learned from losers. I learned from winners. So you come across somebody that's has a big ego, I don't know if you want to follow their trades or not, So you just got to do all your homework and make sure everything works for you. But always don't try to chase something. Wait for it to come to you. And then when you get in the trade, you know that you're confident and you know where you want to get out at. I have resistance levels, and I need to add a resistance level to this one right here. And that's going to be right up in here. I actually like it right here. Whoop. Right there at support level 390. Okay, so this is how I kind of look at this trade here. I didn't like the sales. I sure didn't like the loss. I'm wondering in my mind, why is this thing running? So I'm going to see what kind of company it is. Is it a pot sector or environmental company? Okay, so we got all electric vehicles. I need to add this, make sure this is on my EV watch list. So we're bullish on, there you are. The sector's running. That's why this one's running. This is a sympathy play. Okay? It won't run as hard as others, but I think it can pull back to support level and start to be playable. Volume will start to pick up. I'm really bullish on the car industry next year. I've told that to the room, and I made it very clear that I'm bullish on General Motors, and that was before the pop. I'm bullish on Nikola. I'm bullish on Nile. I'm bullish on Tesla. And there's a couple others that have just added to my watch list that I'm bullish, but I'm very bullish on these trades. I just got to be patient and get in them when they come to me. I don't want to chase any of them, unless it was like Nile, you know, that thing went nuts last week. I chased it. I chased it all the way up. And then I sold it when my gut started telling me I'm up too much. I get nervous when I make $1,000. I used to get nervous when I made 100. You know, I was only making 300 average when I'm at Vegas on maybe every other day. And the market has changed so much since then. And I give a lot of credit to the retail traders, the Robinhood traders, the Weeble traders, the U-Stock traders. I give a lot of that because the market's going to be changing and overwhelming. I mean, we got 1,700 millionaires made every day. All you got to do is take a little time, study these stocks, and you can become a millionaire. It's not hard after a while. Some catch on real soon, some catch on a little late. But 333 is going to be my low support right down here. 351 is going to be my second one, and then the first one's going to be right in here, right around 374 to 369, with a resistance to break right at around 405. That's going to be AYRO. And I want to put that on my watch list because I'm going to be watching it next week, and then I might report on it later. Okay, next. Practicing social distancing 101. So I got AYRO out of the way. Did you like that, Ruth? You want to be patient with it? Let it come back a little bit and then play the bounce up to resistance. I think you need to be positive in the EV car watch list and start writing you some tickers down. Netflix pulled back into my channel. Been a strong channel. Yeah, NFLX or NL. There you go. I had this solid channel right in here. Notice I yelled out strong buy when it hit this 468.20. Bounced right up. So we're still in the channel of support. Hard resistance, and I called it out in my last video, was right here at 497.61, and we just barely hit it. Okay? We're about $1 shy. So that's still going to be my hard resistance level. The resistance to break is going to be at the top of this channel at 494.57. Support level. Now Disney came out. Disney came out and had all these good earnings on their Disney Plus. So that could have been a little bit of issue with Netflix on Friday. A little pullback, you know. But I want to see it hold support here at 475.67. And that'll be a buy one, buy two, maybe at 472.89, and then a strong buy at 468.20, with a resistance pivot point right here at 485.93, and to break resistance right in here. So stop this at any time, and remember that support channel. That's where it's been staying. And if you're in the room, you can ask me about it anytime you want, and I'll share whatever I can with you in a private message. And that's going to be NFLX. I think it's going to stay in this support channel for a long time, these two red lines. If anything above $500, consider it a gift. But we are in a period now where the corona cases are increasing, and being in the now, it's winter time. Being in the now, people can't go to movie theaters. being in the now, we got bars building in our houses. We got exercise rooms building in our houses. We got babysitting rooms building in our houses. We got movie theaters building in our houses. So just keep that in mind with Netflix. And I think it can go higher, but I also think it needs to find a support, and it has for the past 20 days. So here, maybe in a couple more weeks, we're going to start getting a little bit more bullish on Netflix. It is a hard sector to play right now, okay? Because they're rotating money into the small caps and into the Dow. Because it's had such a parabolic run. Netflix, Zoom, all the tech stocks. I'm bullish on Apple again, too. So there's Netflix. Did that make that any clearer to you? Let me know, Michael. And we got Facebook. We got 40 minutes. And I got to go get a drink of water. I need to make some coffee is what I need. I might go in there and put my water on. See, this is a nice chart. You know what I see in this chart right here? I'm just looking at a 20-day, okay? I love Facebook. This was a beautiful trend to play, and we played it. And I called this out in the room. I did very well in this trade. Like $5,000 on this one trade alone on Facebook. I was just so impressed. And it pulled right back to my little support level here. That's probably one of the biggest trades I did all year. 266.57. Solid support. So it hasn't broke that 200 yet on the 20-day. But notice, it's starting to curl up to 50. So I think we might be able to get ready to break out here pretty soon. This is giving me a bullish signal. And if we do pull back hard, we're going to have a retracement right back up to the 50 on the 20-day. Now, this is the SMA chart. You notice we had a golden cross. It ran up. Started getting a little choppy here, and she pulled back and had a death cross. Now, the only time I would have got in at the inverse head and shoulders right here. Okay? Because I know Facebook's a great trade. I would have got in way before anybody else. I would have got in right down in here on the inverse head and shoulders. It's just the opposite of a head and shoulders. Okay? Inverse is a bullish pattern. Head and shoulders is a bearish pattern to play in a channel. But when you're doing an inverse, you have a lot better chance of breaking out. And this was a beautiful trade. 257.34 all the way up to the $300 level. And it stopped right there, pulled right back to that support level. And I can't remember how I got this. Probably looking at this right in here, I figured that was probably support. Or I might have got it off that first candle. But that first hour of the day, if your trend is going down, just wait. Just be patient. Don't jump in it on the first chance you start to see a consolidation. Wait for a second one. Maybe a third one. But this was pure, this was just going to go down no matter what. And then we had the nice retracement back up. So we're bullish again. If it does pull back to support, it's going to be 269.86. That first one's going to be right down here at 273.66. I want to see it hold on the 20-day 1 hour on my SMA chart. I want it to break the 200. And if it breaks the 200, I've got a resistance level at 278.85 to break. If that breaks, you're going to heaven. You'll be up here in the 284 area, okay? That'll be a $6 bounce. And then you could run it up to these you had these big old engulfing candles. And it could run up to right about up in this area, right around 285. And then I'd start getting a little anxiety and start really making a decision if you want to stay in the trade or if you want to run it on up. That's Facebook. Pullback support no lower than 266, 266.67, somewhere in that area. Resistance to break 278.85. You do that, you'll get back up here to this top of 285. That's a $7 jump. And that will be Facebook. Next. Could have comment on RNG. Yes, I'll tell the truth. I will tell the truth. Let's look at the yearly chart. That's the first thing that pops up in my mind, the yearly. I've never charted this chart before. This is the first time I've seen this chart. I want to know what it does. I want to check the float on it. I want to check the float on it right now. Where are you? Okay. RNG. Where are you? Oh, geez. What's my little thing? Oh, it's a nice looking chart too. See that pivot point on the year right there? That's a real solid support right in there. That's pretty solid. So it's got a 72 million float. Okay, that's okay. I'm seeing the same thing he is too, right in here. That's an equilibrium. That's a pivot point. When you're drawing up a chart and you're looking, you want to look for a place that is in the middle, that has a balance, that has an equilibrium, and that's usually where you want to start trying to find a support level or a resistance level. It's a pivot point area. It decides if it wants to go up from there or if it wants to go down. This was a strong buy indicator right here because we were so many times we fell back onto that support. And when that little hammer came in right there, that was a strong buy if you could have got in down there. And there was one other thing I wanted to check out on this company. Ring Central. What do they do? Work together from anywhere. Brings employees and customers together from the world's business communications platform. Oh. Yeah, this is interesting. This is a COVID play. We definitely hit the top up here. You see that? It didn't want to break the top. Now I'm using the body of the candle, guys, gals. I'm using the body. I don't care about this up here. That's my resistance level to break. You see? This is what I'm saying. Watch this. When I'm... Ah, shit. I'll put another trend line in here. This is what I'm talking about. I want you to check. Damn it, I did it again. Let's go down here one more time. Okay. Now, what was I looking at? Okay. The body of this candle is the strength. It's not the wick. So if I was going to look for a double top break, I wouldn't take it off the wick. I'd take it off this daily candle right here on that body. Look what happened over here. See? An inexperienced trader would say, I'm going to take it to 317.84. An experienced trader would say, I'm going to take it to 310.28 and try to get out. If it doesn't break that double top. It didn't want to break the double top. It started failing it. So I would have took my exit at 310.28 on RNG if I was trading it and if I was in the trade. Does that make any sense to anybody in this room? It's the body of the candle that has the most mustard. Now where am I here? Jimbo. There we go. Okay, so ring, support level, it's going to be right here. Off these candles right in here, the bodies. See how they match up right there? So I'm going to put the little red line there, and I'm going to show you another trick here. Why that was support. Now watch. Look at that. You see that? See where that wick of that candle came down? Right on top of them two candles. And it created a solid support level. You're still in the trade at this point, if you're in the trade. And then if it does break that, then you start to sweat a little bit. That anxiety starts to kick in. I think it could pull back to right around here, 285.62, where this top is. I think that'd be a very solid support level. So let's go ahead and put it 285.62 strong buy on it. Or maybe second support. Yeah, we'll make that the second. And then this third one down here, this third tier, that's where we're going to make the third one. I'm going to put them all in red lines. I think this is a pretty good little Corona company. You know, if it does have a knife, it starts to pull back into here, you know you're going to get in at 253, no doubt. It'd have to take some pretty bad news to maybe get it down to that point. But I want to see if it will hold this support level of 277.26. Your second one's right here at 285.62. And then that first one's right here at 294.70. And then your resistance to break is going to be this 303.52 to a double top breakout at 310.28. I'll give it a 6. Shares of some software companies are trading lower. COVID optimism weighs in remote workplaces and sessions. I still don't understand. COVID cases are increasing and they're being very bullish. Something ain't right there. So ring my bell. Next one. Did you like that, Truth? You see where the solid buy is down here. There's another one right in there too. If it does fail this 277.26, I wouldn't probably get into the trade until we got down to 277.26. That would be my first entry. But if it did break down below, you got a real strong buy here, 253. As long as it stays in that channel. I mean, look, we've hit it. You can't tell me it's not going to happen again. It happened last week. It can pull back to this support level. And that's going to be a very strong buy at 253. Okay? Be patient with the trade. You're at resistance levels right now. You don't want to be chasing it. RNG. Jamie, this is one of my hottest stocks right now. And I'm hit this sucker every time at support level. This is one of Vegas's favorite stocks. Idiot. I'm going to erase all this mumble jumble so we can get a clearer picture of it. Had a double top with a lower high. Then we had a double top here with a higher high. The wicks kind of matched up right there. So let's go ahead and put a resistance level here. And double top up in here. I want to get right above here. Oh, look at this. You see that 50-day? See that? You see what I mean by buy signals? If you had this on the yearly, daily, what do you think about that? You know where I called the entry at? Right up in here. Right around 1288. Oh, it might have been a little bit lower. I'll look at the 20-day for sure. We're going back up. This is going back up. Jamie is going back up. We're going to get, this week we'll hit 18. We want to break 20. And our hard resistance is going to be at 2106. She's going back up. The resistance to break is going to be here at 1496. Okay? Support level is going to be right here at 1364 with a strong buy right down here. This is an easy chart to chart up. This plays so smoothly. So let's go to the 20-day. Look what happened here at the Golden Cross. That's not a good picture. if you're just using these two moving averages, the 50 and the 200, look at that. That's powerful. And it started coming down a little bit here, and then she touched there. I mean, it's just a real good-looking chart. Real good-looking chart. I want to get up in here. And when I'm drawing these trend lines, I'm looking for places of consolidation. This candle, the body, has nothing to do with the wicks until I compromise and say, oh, that wick touched that body of that base. That's good. That wick touched that body of that base. That's good. So that's a little bit more addition to the power of that support level or the resistance level. And I got to have one more little support level down here at the 200, and I see that right here, or at the 50. I see it right there on that one. I see it right in here. So I do see a solid support, touchdown right here. So your third support is just a little bit under $12 for a buy. Your second one right at $12.98. That's not much of it is a big dollar difference right there. Your first support right here at $13.64. I think we're getting ready to break on up higher. Resistance to break just at $19.74. And then you've got, at $19.74 is going to be a hard resistance double top. So if we don't break the double top, get out of the trade, take the pullback. Triple tops, if they don't break, get out of the trade as soon as possible. Unless it's unless price over action, or like Nile last week. That's Jamia. FSR, Jimmy likes. Jimmy likes. Another car company. Hydrogen electric cars, I'm telling you. The auto industry for the next year is going to just fly. I've never felt the feeling that I've had in 15, 16 years in the car industry that I have right now. So I'm drawing a few trend lines in here, looking for some equilibriums. There's my little channel right there, see? Now I'm drawing one more for a strong buy. That's going to be right down in here, right around the 1568 area. Why does Jimmy like that? Because Jimmy sees that wick right there. Jimmy sees this right in here, consolidated area. He sees that. He sees this. We tried to get up there, but I'm relying on this place right in here. And then a strong buy right down at $15. Okay, so these are the support levels. This one's going to be a red line. In case I see it, I'll believe it, and I'll know I want to get into the trade at this level right here. Why? Look, bam, consolidated areas, consolidated. Just couldn't break it. None of them could break that. That allows me to and this couldn't, the body of that rolling pin candle right there, spinning top, it just told me that that's a solid resistance. Once it breaks that resistance, it becomes a solid support. Just the opposite. That becomes a strong buy. Remember that when you're looking at the yearly. Now, I like this chart. I like this. I'm bullish on the EV. I'm hyperactive bullish on the car industry. This is the sector we want to be in. And then the pot sector is a lagging sector that'll go up and down and fluctuate. That's the sector you want to watch too. And then you got to be watching the green sector. Anything that has to do with environmentally friendly stocks. They will pop just on sister plays. But we had a triple top resistance right up in here. So we just have to kind of be patient, wait for the pullback. Or if she does break out, it has to be something on news or something that's really going to get it to going. But for right now, I want to keep it in this channel between $15 and $17.39. If not, we can break out to these higher levels And if you get into the trade, and if it does have a breakout, your next resistance level is going to be right here at 1846. And I'm using the wick and this 2048 for a double top break. I'm not looking at this shit up here. I'm just looking at the body. 2048. That's F. Fisher. I like it. I'm going to find my watch list. What the hell are you? No, yeah, it is. I think I got Jamie on here. Yep. Okay, next. Guy smashed the like button for good old Jimmy. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hit that like button. 4K a month, laughing out. USA factories build 30. Well, that's true. But that 4K is going to turn into 5K next year, 10K. In 10 years, that'll turn into 100K a month. 10 years from now, you can come back and say, Jim, you were right. NEWR. Okay, we're on a 200, you know. I'm looking at the chart. We're at the pivot point. It's right in here, see? So I'm going to draw that pivot point. That's the first thing I spotted. 3 seconds. Bam. It could be a buy. We had higher lows. Could be a buy. We're going to break this 200. Could be a buy. Where would I take the exit? Maybe up here at the 50. See how it failed the 50 here and then broke out and then pulled back? That 50 is a very strong support resistance level. 50 right here. See that? 50 right here consolidated. It was oversold down here. Couldn't break that 200, and finally something happened in here. Just made it go fly. Had some kind of news back in this day right in here. Something made this stock run. Right in there. And she's pulled back. Now she's starting to reverse. So I think you're looking at something good here. I'm going to draw me a pivot point line. It's going to be off this right in here. That's a real strong indicator right there. See how it touched that base of that right there? Found support. Found support, found support, found support all throughout that 2 months. Then gave up. And there's another indicator of a buy signal right down here. When I'm looking at, and I want to get into a trade, and I see this, I'm watching a trade, and I see a higher low, and seeing it building up like that, that's a buy signal. That's a buy signal. Then you had them 3 big old white soldiers come in. That's a sell signal. You had pennant flag. That's a buy signal. You had 3 engulfing, 3 black, there they go again. 3 white soldiers. That's a sell signal. You had 3 black crows. That's a buy signal. You had a sell signal. 3 black crows. Buy signal. See how easy that is? Patience. All kinds of indicators on this chart to buy it. This was real strong here. Pennant flag, 3 black white soldiers, 3 white soldiers. I mean, beautiful. Beautiful trade. I took this trade. Are we doing... Oh, this is ENEW. Damn, I'm doing the wrong trade. Well, let's look at ENW. I need an R on that. Sorry about that. We're going to look at new. Oh, man. That's funny. Okay. He's a nut. So we're going to take new. I like this trade, though. $7.99. Oh, take it right in here. It's 810, 793, maybe up right around 830 something, and then take it to that. Pull back support no lower than 720. So let's do this real fast. New, got a 720 support, 762 first support, resistance to break. We get up about 793, 839, and 881 take profit. Now let's start this over here. NEWR. Woo! Okay, here's the yearly chart on this one. Support level's right down in here. There's a little pivot point of the chart. You see? See the pivot point? The rest of that's a real strong buy below that. So let's try to find an equilibrium in here. Right about in there, I think. Yeah. Let's see what they do here. New relic. Got a 47 million float. I can dig that. New made simple. I'm trying to figure out what they do. Software company. Create perfect software. Okay. Troubleshoot. Okay. Okay. I'm trying to be in the now. I want to know what the company does. If it's a sector that could be running right now, and I do believe it can be, it'd be another Corona play. Now I'm looking for places of consolidation on the yearly, and I'm looking for a resistance, and it's going to be this right up in here where these two kiss, okay? But I'm gonna follow it up with a confirmation of resistance, and I think it's going to be right there at 59.15, right there, exactly. Anything above that's going to be a gift. You might be able to take it up to this trend line right up in here, this thing right up in here. Now let's look at the 20-day and see if we got a low support right here, okay? Triple bottom. You see the triple bottom? That's a good sign that this thing's going to bounce back up. It's a real good sign. Same's right in here. We had that big breakout. So that's pretty solid support. I don't think it'll go down below that. If it does, it'll be a strong buy. Mark my words. Triple bottom breakout, I think you can go up to resistance level, up right around in here at 59. I think you can see that pretty easily. That pivot point area is at 56.54. If you break that, you'll go to 59.15, and then I'm sure that you'll see this 61.97. Anything above that's going to be a gift. But I like NEWR. I think we are at a triple bottom here for a buy signal to run it up to 58.90. That's a good $6 bounce, $5 bounce. Well, you know it, don't you? Based on the majority of the firm's revenue generated in the United States. Oh, thank you, Snap, Crackle, and Pop. I think you got you a good trade here. You got a triple bottom to play. That's going to be NEWR. Resistance to break, 58. You see it, don't you? 58.90 area. You see what I'm talking about? You break that, you'll bring it up to these two other resistance levels. But for right now, you got a triple bottom play. That's NEWR. Got to keep that on watch. Where's my watch list? Oh, gosh. I'm going to put it over here so I'll remember it. There it is. Thank you. That's a play for me to take next week. I appreciate it. I really do. Okay, the next one. Hey, Limerick. Aloha. Chewy. Chewy's Christmas stock. I think we're rebounding up. We bounced off that 50. It's held that 50 pretty well. See? Every time it's hit that 50, it's bounced up. So we're due to bounce on up. I think we'll break resistance level and get up to these tops again. Let's pull it up to the 20-day, but it's holding up that 50 very well. Okay? Remember when we talked about this last week? I said it was a buy down here right around 55, 59. Because we kind of consolidated in there, and here we are up here. So we're at a pivot point kind of area, resistance level right now at 64.23. I think it can pull back again and hit 60.93, and that'll be your buy right around the 61 area. So jot down 61 for a buy and run it up to about 65 for a pivot point. And if that breaks, you'll bring it up to these higher resistance levels. But for right now, it's a buy down here at $61. Anything below it's going to be a strong buy. That's Chewy. This is my Christmas special to you all. And I need to put Chewy on here. Okay, I got Chewy on there. GP. That was 7 more time. Then I'm going to run through a couple of mine. Yeah, GP had a nice little breakout there. Green Power Motors sells 6 electric school buses in California school district. Well, I'm telling you, these car companies are hot. It's one of the biggest polluters we have right now is them old gas-powered school buses that are outdated. I can see the government spending a lot of money on that. So I'm going to look for a resistance level right here. I'm bullish on GP2. I need to add it to my EV. And what's it, AYRO and GP. I don't think I have them two on there. That's a resistance level to break. Okay? Your pivot point support level is right down here, right around 830. Let's bring it up just a little bit higher to this area right in here. Nice breakout right in here, man. I mean, that is just plumb beautiful. That would have been hard to catch. Just pulled back and hit the 50 and then hit resistance. Okay, so we got a channel. Let's find a pivot point in this channel. And we'll work from there. This is the pivot point area. These are going to now become supports. And then you got one more right here. The resistance to break, and you bring it up to about, right in here. And right there. See that? And maybe one more high. Okay, I'm going to sit back and look at this. Big engulfing candle. Could mean a correction. This is going to be your support level right here. Right there. That's going to be your solid support level to get into the trade. If it pulls back to this 1041 area, load up. Anything below that's a strong buy. If it does not hold that 1041, be patient. If it doesn't hold that, it'll pull back to this area right here, and I'd load up. That's at 854. The resistance is going to break. If it doesn't break 1346, it'll pull right back to the first support level. It could go up and not break this because that's a hard resistance. If it does, you can run it up to this next level of right around $16. GP, I like it. I'm adding it. Hard resistance to break here at 1346. Strong buy down here right around 1041. If it dips below that, that's where you want to start paying attention and maybe getting into the trade. Patience, my friend, on all these trades. Don't rush yourself. Unless it was like a Nile last week, or, and you're going to have them. So you need to have you an EV watch list going. You got to have one. BYDDF. BYDDF. Here's one that I've never charted again. Buying Company Limited. I want to know what they do. I gotta know. What do they do? What do they do? Chinese auto and electronics? Oh. That'd be good. Now I can't find out the float. Right there, I don't trust it because it's not on FinViz. But let's look at the yearly chart here. Wow. This one here really takes... Look at that. I mean, that's a heck of a run. It's hard to judge. I'm thinking right there, maybe. Hard to judge. I'll get a better look on the 20-day. Oh, that's perfect. 25.16 is a hard resistance. Yeah, this is a trippy stock here. I would say draw you down an alert here at 2074 to get into the trade. Then you got a strong buy here at 1903. Yeah, I think you have an entry right here at 2074, and then each one of these lines will be like a little resistance level. Strong buy, 2074. Third support right down here at 2174, and that first one here at 2264. And then a resistance to break, 2446, 2516 with a triple top at 2590. I like it. I don't. I'll tell you right now, if it was an American company, I'd be more bullish on it. Okay. I'm not prejudiced against China. I'm just saying, But I do like that pullback here at 2074 for retracement back up into these resistance levels. Something to keep an eye on. I'll add it to my watch list. I thought I had it in there. Oh, DDF. That makes sense. Okay, now, is there any more in here that we want to look at? Probably the most commonly known in Chinese battery factory. Oh. Oh. Well, you know your stuff, man. I like how you think. Snack, crackle, and pop. I think your support level is going to be 2074, okay? And resistance to break, if you get down to that level, going to be right here at 2355. Then you got your other three resistance levels to get to. BYDDF. So let's go over a couple stocks that we haven't talked about yet. And then we're going to call her quits. Hope everybody's enjoyed it. Yep. $23.55 to break. Then bring it up to about, and then that $24.46 is the resistance that you have to break. $24.46. Yeah, I'll go over OSTK. Bottom play. Overstock.com shares are trading lower as e-commerce names dip following recent positive COVID vaccine news and Pfizer's. They're all... The vaccine is what's changing the course in a lot of these corona plays. That's why they're moving a lot of money into the smaller caps and taking it out of tech. Because they think the next year is going to be the year where, end of 2021, we'll probably get rid of corona. But that'll be the end of 2021. But if the vaccine comes out, that's going to be a very positive accomplishment for the market. So keep that in mind. A lot of the corona plays will dip on us. So we're kind of at a battlefield right now. You notice they all pulled back, all the tech stocks have, and they bounced up last week. Now they'll probably pull back a little bit more and kind of consolidate. Zoom I want to talk about too. So let's look at the yearly chart on this. I was playing this last year down here. This is 2019 trend lines that I've talked about before. But they ain't going to be no good to me right now. Okay, now, there's something about this chart I saw. It'd take me 3 seconds to figure it out. A support level. And do you know where it is? Could you tell me where you think that support level is on this yearly? Right there. Look how it runs into the 200. See this bottom consolidated area right here? That's going to be a strong buy at 41.69. Of course, the moving average will change on you. So further down the line, that SMA on the yearly, daily, could go up higher and create a higher support. You want to take this trade off this support level, if you can. Your other support's right here, the top of this channel. Okay, that's your first one. That second one's going to be right here. And I'd love to see that hold here. If it doesn't, you could fall back to this area right down here, and that's just way too damn low. Now, resistance to break is going to be this right here. This red candle on the right. And I've got to change that. I don't think I was... There it is. Perfect. And then right here, right at the bottom of that candle, OSTK, overstock. So it did find a resistance level right here from this bottom support. It can pull back to this 200 at 41.69 and retrace back up to break resistance at 49.36, and then hard resistance at 55.38, long to 61.13. This has to hold right here. This is a strong buy at this bottom support level at 41.69 or off that 200 on the yearly. Let's go to the 20-day and see if I missed anything. Yeah, see, you got resistance levels to go. Right there. And another one right in here. I've got to find an equilibrium right here. And second support right down here. Okay. First support at 51.89. Strong buy at 49.36. Resistance to break is going to be this pivot point here in the channel at 58.21. To a hard resistance up in this channel at right in 62.87. That's going to be OSTK. You can stop these videos at any time. They will be recorded and they will pop up on our channel. So appreciate that y'all hit that like button. That means a lot to me. And I want to just kind of run through a couple tickers right now. Just kind of do the old Jimmy watch list here. We talked about Nile. Okay, Apple we want to go over. Baba, Tesla, and SPEV is my new another auto one that I'm looking at. I really like this car. This is like a, I don't know, this car would be made for the ones that are really like material stuff, that like material and show off possessions, like their lights. This car has like I mean, it's pretty cool. I'm sure it was SPEV. Oh, no, it ain't. That's the wrong one. Never mind. I take that back. I forgot what it is now. SPEQ? Shit. I can't remember now. XPEV. Never mind. We'll talk about something else. No, that's it. Yeah. John DeJarian CBC. I really do like this car. It's called an Xpeng. I'll pull up the website here. Nah, shoot. Okay, let's look at the yearly. We had a nice little breakout on this one. This also goes in the EV sector. I got a support level right down here at 36.35 on EXPE with the first three support levels. Right, the first one right here at 38.19 and 39.51. I want to see that 41.99, 42 area hold and break resistance up right around this 44. Put this on your watch list with your EV cars and break resistance of 47.88. The next one Tesla. Then we'll talk about Disney. Okay, Tesla's building another flag right here. I'm going to clear this all up. I know this stock by heart almost. We broke below that 50. That's the only concern that I have right now, that 50-day. We do have a support level right here, right around the 387. So if it does pull back, it could hit that area right in there. And I do have a resistance area right around the 413. Now there's a little equilibrium right in here, right around the 472 area, and I've been calling that 403 out quite a bit in the room to retrace back up. And we're at 408.50 right now. So hard resistance is going to be right up here around the 420 area. I always made this my Elon number. Well, I'll get it in here with a hard resistance right around there. Let's bring us to the 20-day. Find an equilibrium right in here, right there, 419.79, 420. That's the pivot point. That's the resistance, the first resistance you get to. Your lower support is right down this 401 to right in here, right around this 405 area. Strong buy, anything below 400. Okay, so you got 3 different support levels with a real 380 right down here. Strong buy, double bottom. And the last time we hit here, we ran up pretty good. Now we pulled back to an equilibrium, to a pivot point area with a double bottom right here. So it can pull back to a triple bottom breakout at 401, which is my old employee number. It's a good luck charm. Run it to resistance at the 200, or break resistance right here at 419.79 on Tesla. Bullish on Tesla, and right now it's just consolidating in a channel. Next one, and we're about done. Let me see if I got any. Amazon. We ain't talked about Amazon. Amazon's sitting in here at a low support that I have at 30.8105. I think that can hold. Anything below that becomes a strong buy. Anything below that comes a strong buy, especially when you get closer to the $3,000 level. And you can always run it back up to the 200 on the 20-day 1 hour chart. Resistance to break is 316318. This is my resistance channel to break. If it breaks that, it can go up into this upper channel. But for right now, you got to just it's kind of consolidated, create a little flag here, and it could drop down one more time and then retrace back up. That's a bearish flag. It could be bullish too. In fact, I think it might be bullish. Let me see. I will find out. Oh, yeah, this could be a bullish flag right here, guys. See, when it's coming up from the bottom, and you got that flag pattern, you could have a breakout. It's called a pennant flag. See how it come up, how it's kind of consolidated. Or it could do this. I still think we might be going down a little bit more. Where's that flag at? Yeah. Or it could be doing this. No, that ain't it. That's not it. Oh, I gotta find it. Yeah. It's a crossbreed. I think it's going to be bullish and turn back up. But anything below this line right here, at 381.05, it's going to be a strong buy. And definitely if it dips down here to 30.31, and that resistance to break is going to be this resistance bar at 31.32.15. Follow the trend with this one, because that's how it trades. It trades with the trend. Okay? And for right now, we're kind of consolidated for a squeeze come out Monday. It's going to go either way. If it dips, get in on the dip. If it breaks resistance here at 31.63, you could probably run it up to about 32.04. Amazon. Baba and Disney. And Walmart had some good shit going on last week too. So Baba's down here at a double bottom. See that? Got a double bottom on Baba. Baba's China. You know why it went down? The government and Jack Ma got into it. They jumped on his ant IPO, and it caused the stock to come on down. But I think we're consolidating now. I want to see this number hold at 257.75, or we'll go lower. But I want it to break resistance level of here at 264.92 and then get to 271.87. But yeah, the drama was Jack Ma and China getting into it. He wanting China to lighten up. He made it. I would be surprised if we find him dead another year. They really got into it pretty big. That's BABA. So the next one we're going to look at, yeah, I think this support channel is going to hold. And if it starts to break past that, you're going up here to this higher level. That's going to be some big money right there. We're at a bottom down here. I'll be looking at BABA real closely Monday morning. And we talk about Tesla. We talk about Disney. Disney's had a good week. Had that big pop. Now she kind of had some lower highs. And then we've got a little pennant flag right here. So it's either going to break out or pull back to this number right here at 134.57 and then bounce up to resistance and maybe have a hard resistance right at 142. That's going to be Disney. I need it to hold 134.57. I think it will pull back to a double bottom. And let me do one more. Where are you, watch list? Oh, what did I do with it? The hardest thing to hold on to. Zero. Chewy we got on here. Yep, I think that's about it. Got Nile. Yep. Okay. I hope everybody enjoyed the session. Really appreciate you coming and showing up on Saturday with me. Let me see here. Our website, you can always follow us here on the Twitter bird. Okay, Mr. Happy. We're so happy to have you. Amanda, I hope you have a great weekend. Hit that follow button. Let's get some more followers on our Twitter site. Tell your friends about us. We got Stock Twits pages on our website. You can hit and follow us on here too. Of course, this is me playing a guitar right there. I used to love to play music, and I was a comedian, a boxer, and a very active baseball player. Now I trade stocks. I was a golfer for about 5 years. So yeah, you can always hit that. Then we've got our Pinterest right here. We've got our YouTube channel, and if you want to buy any merchandise, we also have a store. I wish everybody a safe weekend, and I'm going to take the rest of the day off. I'm cleaning the building right now that's been infected with corona. So I spent most of the morning in there wearing that big old plastic suit and gloves and a face mask. Been probably one of the stressfulest years that I've had, but I've also done very well in the market this year. So always remember, we inspire, educate, empower traders on a conscious path, to financial freedom. I love stocks, and if you want to join our chat room service, if you're not new to here, we do have a $20 setup and then $50 a month after that. And I just want to wish everybody a great weekend and have a nice day. Thanks so much for showing up.